All right, I guess I'll do another video again, for the most part, with this whole drama that continues to unfold. It's like a soap opera by now because, we're starting to learn hour by hour, for the most part, the unfolding of what's going to happen. We already know that Will Smith, for the most part, issued an apology, a written apology, nothing face to face, but a written apology, explaining that how, he is sorry that he did that and that, he's still a work in progress, yada, yada, yada. We already know what that is all about. But now we're actually learning again that there's a different stage in this whole thing, and that the Academy is now getting ready to kind of think about how they're actually going to dish out their punishment to Will Smith. And again, I think all of America right now is really waiting to see how this whole thing is going to unfold, for the most part, because again, as you know, with these type of situations and ceremonies, they always have to have, written rules as far as how people are supposed to behave. Most notably, how you are not supposed to put your hands on someone else. OK, but I actually wanted to, again, take a different flavor with this particular video this time and really talk about, for the most part, the anatomy of a slap. We'll get into that in just a moment towards the ending of the video. But I just want to kind of, I guess, give a brief update as far as what's going on, because I'm trying to really piece together to see what is going on here. And my main thing is that, and the main person, that I'm focusing on, of course, Will Smith, but I'm actually trying to engage and actually get a feel of how Jada Pinkett Smith is actually handling this whole thing. Because again, of course, all of this didn't start until Will Smith looked at her at the Grammys after Chris Rock did that joke about her, and of course, Will Smith, he laughed and everything about that, and the fact about it is that I think that, yeah, he was already on a bit of the edge, but I think what really happened is that when he actually looked at her to see her response as far as her rolling her eyes, that is what really set him off to kind of lead him up there to, slap, Chris Rock in the face, And the thing about it again is that, right as this actually happened, or actually immediately after it happened, she happened to sit there and actually smile and actually joke or actually give her little, laugh or whatever the case may be, as far as what had just happened. Now, one thing that I will actually say about this, and I hate to say this and actually go into a subcategory as far as this whole video is concerned, but what we have to understand is that if you think about it, in biblical times, there has always been a downfall with man. And this major downfall was when he was actually dealing with a woman. Now, again, this is not a woman bashing video or anything like that. But what folks got to understand is that even though Will was actually, quote unquote, defending his woman, a lot of people are really not feeling that. And the reason why they're actually saying that is because of the nature of the type of woman that Jada Smith Pinkett is. See, one thing about it, again, is that, Jada Pinkett really wasn't a Hollywood star or anything before she actually hooked up with Will Smith, because Will Smith was pretty much already known, for the most part, as far as his rap videos during his days with, DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Funky Fresh Prince and everything like that. When he was doing his little music thing, nobody really knew who she was. We already knew that he was getting his start in Hollywood, by making raps and everything like that. And I sometimes listen to his little raps or whatever, and I enjoy them sometimes, especially the one where he was saying about the girls of the world ain't nothing but trouble. I for whatever reason, it's so funny that you sing things that actually ends up prophetically being true. But in his case, I guess it happened later in life. But anyway, it's funny that, when he was going through all of this, and of course, nobody really knew pretty much who she was. She actually got her name in the books, wherever, when she did her movies or whatever, when she was younger with, what is the movie Shame? I enjoyed watching that as well. But the issue is that, we're at a crucial point, or Will Smith is at a crucial point, because he actually behaved in a way that is unbecoming of a mature Hollywood man, a role model, if you will. But the question is, and the thing is that, he did this attack on Chris Rock to avenge his wife. But all behind that, Will, or Jada, if you will, is smiling because she really did not care, for the most part, what was going to happen to Will, as long as she actually get revenge on Chris Rock. It's almost kind of like the kind of issue where you're like using someone. And the fact is that this man, Will Smith, now has pretty much tarnished his reputation. Now, it doesn't matter whether or not, Hollywood will touch him for another movie or anything like that. Just look at the fact that the issue is that he went up there and made an ass out of himself, all to avenge her, a woman who is actually okay with sleeping around with other dudes, a woman who actually put all of their sexual business out in the open, insulting him, a woman that actually still craved and actually still expressed feelings for her quote unquote hood friend, Tupac. And the thing about it again is that I don't know how many signals Will Smith actually needed in order to see that this woman really is not all about him. Because again, her desires and her aspirations and everything else lies with other men. In his book, Will actually openly discussed the fact that, he was actually jealous of Tupac. And the reason why he was jealous of Tupac, and again, remind you, this is why them two, of course, are still married, that she actually was jealous because of how she would interact with Tupac. How she would actually look at him whenever he's talking to, and just talking, and he wanted her to look at him that way. It's a very sad situation when you have a marriage where the other person is actually in a needy position. But yet still the person who is actually needing is actually neglected because the other person is willfully giving the affections that they should have for their partner to someone else or to a whole bunch of other people. And see, again, I'm not married or anything like that, but it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that the marriage is all one-sided. It is not an even playing field. One person is giving while the other person is just constantly taking. The other person is just there taking things for granted just because I happen to be married to this person, but I don't actually have to put in any work to make this marriage work. And the thing about it again is that all of America actually sees her. And again, I'm not attacking Jada. I'm not trying to bash her, but you have to look and take inventory and take notes of this situation because again, Black men have always been, well, I would say in the earlier eras, we will say, like maybe in the 60s, 70s or whatever the case, we were all about our Black women. We were all about the protecting of Black women. We were all about this because, again, I believe the family unit was very strong. It was very strong, more so than it is now, because now we're having the concept of what, quote unquote, modern women is all about. And I hate that term modern women because, again, it displays a different attitude that women take towards relationships, towards the environment, towards pretty much how they view men in general. But in the earlier eras, you would have them where, the men would do everything that he can to protect his woman because he knew that his woman actually loved and cared about him, and she would actually show that. But these days, social media and everything else in between is teaching these women these days, these modern women, if you will, that they don't really have to do much. But again, show a little skin and maybe give a little quickie or two to their husband. And that's all that's needed to keep him satisfied. And everything else will just fall into place, hopefully. But see, America is actually looking at Will as the biggest idiot right now because they're saying you are doing the most for somebody who really does not care about you. And now you are being ruined professionally because of her. Like I said, nobody's advocating divorce papers or anything like that. If they decide, that's totally up to her. But I do know that she was the type of person, and she was actually quoted as saying that if they were to get married, she doesn't believe in divorce. The fact is that when you marry her, that's it. So that pretty much told Will at the moment that, hey, you better understand and know, you better think twice, okay, that if you marry her, that's it. There is no divorce. You're going to be stuck with what you got. And the issue is that, again, we are still trying to understand why, when you already know that this woman has been intimate, and brought people into your marital bedroom, why would you sit up there and actually defend someone like that? That's what America is wanting to understand. That's what America is wanting to know. And that's pretty much what we're trying to really get an answer to, because now, even though we know that Chris Rock stated that he was not going to press any charges, that doesn't take away from the state of California. They can still actually bring Will Smith up on charges, that, he assaulted someone. And of course, Chris Rock legally can sue the Academy Association because, again, they are required to provide a safe environment for him to do his job. They actually hired him to host this year's Academies, from what I'm understanding. So really, this is a legal issue that can go so many different ways, all because of the fact that one man wanted to, quote unquote, avenge his wife that was supposedly being attacked by a comedian. It's so funny that shortly after, this happened, Jada Pinkett went on to social media and she actually posted, something that I figured that is just sickening to me. And again, that is just my opinion. I'm allowed to have it. Saying that, that she supports what Will Smith did because she said that this is a season for healing and that she's here for it, meaning that anybody that does her wrong, Will Smith can put his hands on them and she is okay with that. But see, one thing about it, again, is that I know for the most part that black men have been getting into a lot of trouble trying to take up or trying to avenge black women. I know, and I can actually give an example of that. And that's why I don't really get into business or get into any altercations when it's involving a black woman. Even sometimes my own sister, because, again, you have to know the personality, again, of the modern black woman for me to say that. And the reason why I say this is because, I was actually, working, doing my job, as normal. And, and I actually happened to be friends with, someone at work, a fellow black dude. And basically, out of the blue, this woman actually comes up to me and says, do you know such and such? I'm like, well, yeah. She says, because I cannot stand him. He's always harassing me. He's always doing this, that, and the other, giving me unwanted stares, asking me and propositioning me for sex and all of this other type of stuff. So I'm like, well, even though I didn't know the dude that long, I'm thinking, well, I do know that he does sleep around. OK, so let's just be real. He's not known to be the person that is a modest person. He gives his goods to whoever is available. But I said, you know what? I said, the issue is that, with me trying to be helpful, I'm letting her know that, OK, if this dude is giving you all of this unwanted attention and everything like that, you need to do what you need to do to protect yourself, and, report him to HR. Even though, yes, we may be friends, I would not want anybody to be working in an environment that they look at as being unsafe. So, she was like, okay, well, I don't know if I should do that, and this, that, and the other. Well, I'm like, well, you know what? If you feel like I say uncomfortable with it, then maybe me being one of your friends, or at least an acquaintance, you trusted me enough to come to me with this. Maybe I should go and actually have a word with HR, on your behalf, since you are afraid to do this, because again, you're stating that this was on an unwanted action. So I call myself being a best friend or a best associate, because again, I really don't like that word friend because it has so many different negative connotations. I call myself being a good person, if you will, and actually indicating that this is what I heard. Now, I don't know if it was true or not, but this is what I was hearing. So I make sure I approached it that way when I went to HR. And of course, HR, doing their due diligence, they actually have to follow up on this information, and they started calling people in, to actually get to the bottom of what was going on and to see why, there was harassment, if there was any at all, between the two, meaning, the fellow dude who I was friends with and this young lady who actually entrusted me to come to me with her information about him. So come to find out, they do their investigations, and basically some of the information she was telling me was not all the way true. What she neglected to tell me is the fact that she was actually willfully messing with this dude sexually outside of the workplace. Out of everything that she told me, she neglected to leave out that important part. So now, not only does it make me look bad, like I'm actually trying to start drama, which I am not about, it actually pretty much put a wedge, or it kind of divided the wedge between our friendship, as far as that was concerned, because again, she actually did not tell me the whole truth, meaning that, she brought on that attention because she was actually messing with the dude outside of work. So basically now, because of that, our friendship was pretty much null and void. There was no more friendship because, again, he was angry at me because the fact that he thought that I was trying to start drama And the thing about it is that I was like trying to explain to him, well, she came to me letting me know of this. And the fact about it is that I didn't know that it was true, but by me trying to do the right thing, to report this, that, you all can handle that with HR and get it straightened out the way. So basically, our friendship just pretty much ended right there. Okay, so I said, you know what? It's not really a big deal. Friends come and go. I will be fine. Trust me, I will not die. Their life goes on. So that part of the situation didn't bother me at all. But what HR told her was very significant. HR told her that, you owe me. She stated, that you owe him, meaning me, an apology. Because not only did you put him in an uncomfortable position, you did not tell him the full story. And the fact that your behavior actually brought on this attention from him, meaning my former friend. So from that point on, I always learned not to get involved or trying to avenge black women. Now, yeah, it can be, again, I'm not going to say that that's the end all be all, because, again, if this is something that's involving death or whatever, a family member, my sister, whatever, she's in a situation, I'm going to be there for family. But for the average black woman, I'm not getting involved with it because, again, it can cause someone to lose their life. It can cause a whole lot of issues I'm just not prepared to handle. So that's why these days, whenever I am actually seeing an issue where there's a man that's actually maybe arguing with a black woman or, some sort of threatening some sort of violence against the black woman, I'm not going to get involved. What I will do is that if it's actually near my vicinity, I'll call the police and let the police handle what they need to handle. But I personally am not going to get involved in trying to avenge a black woman because, again, today's black women, nothing against you, love you, and will continue to love you. You are too sneaky and you have an agenda. And the thing about it, again, is that in most cases, especially these days, you know how to work and how to plan and how to make things seem as if you're the victim, not telling the whole story of what you may have done to bring on the attention. OK, so I'm going to leave that part there. OK, but I want to transition and talk about the significance of the slap that a lot of people say that can be heard around the world. When I was actually getting ready to do this video, and again, I rarely do videos back to back like this, but this is such an interesting piece of events, and again, I'm not trying to capitalize off of someone's misfortune, but again, this is just very interesting to me. One thing that you have to notice about a slap is that you have to look at how it's delivered, or actually not even a slap, let's say an assault in general. If you take a look and really think about this thing, whenever you actually open hand or open face, as they say, slap someone, that lets them know for the most part that, okay, you're misbehaving. I'm having to put you in check. Now, if he were to actually physically punch Chris Rock in the face, that would mean that, okay, you know what, man, you're my equal. You are a dude that's insulting my wife. But when he slapped Chris Rock, that's letting him know that he does not even view Chris Rock as a man. He view him as something that is less than a man. And when I really began to think about the psychology of this thing, it made perfect sense, which is the reason why I really still, again, wanted to do this video. Because, again, I wanted to actually kind of just go in and just kind of dissect this thing to try to figure out what was going through Will Smith's mind, the mentality of this whole thing as far as why he, slapped him with an open hand as opposed to punching him, even though either one of them still, is a physical assault. But when you open slap someone, usually when a man open slaps someone, it's usually reserved for a female. And again, that's because of the fact that he already knows, okay, I'm stronger than you. Okay, so you're getting out of hand. I need to put you in check. I don't even view you as my equal. This is what the open slap or the open face hand slap means. I don't even view you as my equal. So I have to, again, I don't want to physically hurt you like I possibly could have, but I need to let you know that you're getting out of hand. So I'm about to put you in your place. That's what, to me, is an open hand slap. Now, if he were to actually resort to the punch, that's telling me that, okay, I view you really as a threat, not only to my well-being, but again, not only to me, but again to my wife, because I don't know what you're capable of. So I need to take you down as soon as possible because I don't know, again, what may become of this. I need to make sure that I hurt you to the fact that you can't do anything else about this. That's what a punch would signify to me. So the fact that when he got up out of that seat and actually went up there and actually slapped him, that means that he does not even view Chris Rock as a man. He views him as less than a man. And the fact, again, is that he felt that he had to put him in check. And when I thought about this again, I'm like, this kept playing over and over in my mind. And I'm like, oh my God, this makes a whole lot of sense. It really does. The sad fact about it again is that America does not respect Will Smith for this. And it's like more celebrities are coming out day by day, or actually hour by hour, because again, this was just a recent event, expressing their disgust at how he handled the situation. Some of them are saying that they felt physically ill, or as they say, they felt a whole bunch of sickening from the whole situation. A lot of people are saying that Chris Rock should have sued Will Smith for what he did. So it's going to be interesting as far as how this whole thing is going to play out. Now, Chris Rock has actually been seen publicly since this event happened. And the thing about it again is that he is actually still trying to come to terms as to why this happened. Why did he have to get up and hit me like this? Because again, if you're in disagreement with somebody, there's a whole lot of other ways to handle a disagreement than getting up and actually physically assaulting someone. So basically, given the magnitude of what's going on here, he's still trying to come to terms with, okay, this happened, but it's still like, I'm still trying to grasp why. And of course, his brother, meaning, Chris Rock's brother, is actually trying to get into the midst, and he's letting him know that, okay, despite the fact of what P. Diddy and all of them are saying, his brother did not accept Will Smith's apology. Well, that's a given. I don't trust anything what P. Diddy says anyway, because he has a shady past record anyway. He loves to cheat people out of record deals and all of this other type of stuff. So it didn't surprise me when he said that, and then it was reported that, that wasn't the case. So again, whoop-de-doo, not a big surprise there. But anyway, we just have to kind of just keep an open eye and an ear of what's going to go on. Because again, memes are going to continue to float around on YouTube and social media, and people are going to still have their say as far as how they feel the situation should be handled. But the whole thing about this is that, again, messing with the wrong woman, it will cost a man a whole lot, even if he does mean well in his approaches to avenge her. All right. Peace out, folks, and talk to you guys later.